السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياكم الله جميعا في ورشة عمل تسجيل المقاولين. طبعا الورشة بتكون باللغة الإنجليزية للمعلومية فقط. فبسم الله نبدأ. Hello everyone and welcome to the registration webinar. My name is Mohammed Dhafar Al-Shihri and I'm from the Vendor Qualification Management at the Digital Government Authority. The content of today's webinar will be as follows. First of all, we will start with the webinar agenda, introduction to Sadaf and introduction to Sadaf program and Sadaf cluster. Third, we'll have the vendor registration process and how to get registered. And at the end, we will have Q&A sessions and the survey completed by your end. The agenda of today's webinar will be as follows. First, we will have a session objectives and summary of the topics. Secondly, we will have the Sadaf cluster purpose and objectives and the vendor registration process diagram, and then how the vendor get registered by applying a vendor registration demo. Then we will have the Q&A session and how to get further support. Last but not least, we will share with you the survey to complete your information as it is important for DGA to have it as a reference. Please note that this session will be mainly demonstrate the vendor registration, not the classification, as the vendor classification webinar will be inshallah tomorrow. Also, please note that the session will be recorded, and I encourage everyone to open their camera once we reach to the questions and answers section. Also, we have a survey link and a Sadaf cluster link that we will be posting to the chat. So please make sure that you fill your data, as it is important to DGA to have all the vendor information listed down so that we can help you and support you moving forward. Also, during this presentation and demo, if you have any questions, please type it in the chat and we will answer your questions at the end of the call in our Q&A session. So now we will have an introduction to Sadaf and Sadaf program and Sadaf cluster. To achieve its mandate and aspiration, DGA launched the Saudi Digital Investment Opportunity Program on the 9th of March 2022, which DGA has developed the National Digital Government Strategy, which entails an efficient investment pillar. Now we have launched Sadaf program, having in mind that it is a primary focus is to support the DGA mandate and DGA strategic objectives. And the Sadaf program vision is to be the digital investment gateway for the public and private sectors by doing the following. First, enhance the financial planning for all the government entities by utilizing the spend cube and the data of the budgeting and the procurement for all the government entities. Also, raise an efficiency of the government procurement by accelerating the process by having different kind of procurement methods like the national framework agreements. Also help the vendors and improve the quality of the vendors that are supplying the digital products and services to the government entities. We aim at DGA to have to increase the contribution of the SMEs that are providing digital products and services to the government entities. Also, it is in our target to increase the local content production in the ICT sector by enabling more local vendors in the industry. Lastly, we are looking to bring more foreign investments to the kingdom that are focusing on the ICT vendors. And as you can see, the main stakeholder for all of these are the government entities, ICT private sectors, citizens, and investors. And to do all of the above, Sadaf program currently consists of 5 components that are designed to work closely together to ensure we reach our aim and objectives. And those components are the financial planning for the government entities to plan their budgets for the digital ICT projects. Also, digital procurement. We will use a lot of tools to make the procurement process easier for the government entities. Sadaf Center of Excellence, as we have established and create a center where we will be meeting and discussing, let's say, everything related to Sadaf with all the stakeholder, as we mentioned, government entities, vendors, and investors. Investment and partnership. This is where Sadaf program will work with our ecosystem partner for government entities and investors to create a lot of strategic alliances and partnership that will support DGA, that will support Sadaf to achieve its objectives. Sadaf cluster and vendor classification, as this is our main topic for today webinar, where DGA developed a web portal and we call it Sadaf cluster. This is the virtual cluster for all the stakeholder of Sadaf program. And inside the Sadaf cluster, we have the technical vendor classification services, where it allows the vendor to be technically classified so that they can participate in the government procurement process. We will now talk about the Sadaf cluster and how it will enable and empower the vendors in the kingdom by doing the following, which is to be part of the digital government database for the digital vendors, also increase the visibility of the company to more than 500 government entities. We'll have also an access to key data and matrices about your industry, also an access to the digital investment opportunities, as well as public-private partnership opportunities. And also, once you register, you will be able to be the first to know about the relevant industry news and events. And now we will highlight the vendor journey in a very simple process. As you can see, as a vendor in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you will start the journey by registering the company in Ministry of Commerce. Then the ICT vendors will come to Sadaf cluster portal and they will register themselves as a vendor for the digital government, which is the main topic for our webinar today. After the registration, now all the local vendors in Sadaf cluster will have an access to the main services in the cluster, which is one of them is the technical vendor classification. All the vendor need to submit the classification request and to get a score and a certificate from DGA. So once you get the technical vendor classification certificate and the technical classification final score, the vendor will go to Mumra to do the financial classification. After getting the financial classification from Mumra, then vendor will be able to get the general classification certificate. And now you will find a list of all vendor registration prerequisites as we explained in previous webinars. And we have also shared in some emails and awarenesses about the prerequisites. So now all the vendors need to provide in order to be able to complete the registration requests. As an example, you can see in the screen that the vendor need to provide the company name, logo, establishment year, commercial registry number, CR, as well as other certificates and the products, for example, catalog, etc. If you have any questions, please write it in the chat. Here we will highlight the end-to-end journey process, the vendor registration detail process as follow. First, vendor goes to the portal and signs up using a business email. Vendor receives an email asking them to verify, let's say, their business email address. Vendor logs in and fill the registration form after verifying their business email, and then the vendor will have an access to the registration form. After that, number 3, DGA receives a notification that the vendor has filled their application on the portal. DGA reviews the vendor profile and cross-check the validity of entered information. Number 4, DGA moderator approves or rejects the vendor profile application or request for more modification and information. DGA system will send an email to the vendor with this decision. Fifth, the vendor receives an approval or rejection of the requests or request for modification, as we explained, for additional information. Sixth, vendor may update their profile and modify the form by regularizing the documentation and information. Step number 7, the registration process may go through iterative review cycles until the vendor receives final approval from DGA. And after that, the vendor can access this stage, the private sections, as we mentioned, for example, the private events and vendor classification and other services on the portal, in addition to, let's say, public screens. Vendor will also have an access to DGA announcement and, as we mentioned, the vendor classification and other services. And now we will speak how to get registered. I will leave the floor to my colleague Amro to demonstrate how to get registered through a demo that we will present to you. So please, Amro, the floor is yours.
Let's start. First thing, welcome to this webinar. I'm glad that we have around 70 attendees to this webinar. We created this webinar because we know that we have to spread the awareness about what we are doing in the Digital Government Authority, and especially in the investment sector, and how we are taking this forward from utilizing Sadaf cluster going forward to do the vendor classification, inshallah, in the next webinar, and there will be many services to come. So first thing, when you go to sadaf.dga.gov.sa, and I think in the presentation we had the link all over the slides, and also we will post the Sadaf link to the chat now. When you go to sadaf.dga.gov.sa, you will go to the landing page of Sadaf. The landing page of Sadaf, as you can see, it is introducing everyone what is Sadaf, what it stands for, and some of the current services that we have. So you find that we have like reports, announcements, events about Sadaf, sign up and sign in. So currently you can, if you want to know anything about DGA events, announcements, or reports that they are publishing through the Sadaf program, you can come to Sadaf landing page and you can find all of these information. This is available publicly. Certain events and announcements are available publicly. However, to get the best benefit out of this Sadaf portal is to register. And today we will show you how to register. Before I go to the registration, I will scroll down to the end of the page, to the footer. In the footer, you can find a lot of useful documentation. So here, when I am using this portal in English, you can find we have 3 guiding materials. We have the vendor technical classification user manual. This is a user manual that is detailed for all the vendors to allow them or to help them to get the vendor classification request done. You have also Sadaf cluster user manual. Sadaf cluster user manual is there to help you to understand all the services that we provide in Sadaf cluster and how to interact with the portal. And then there is another link to another webinar that we have done earlier in Jan, and it is basically explaining an overview about vendor technical classification. Now we will go to the sign up page, so that we can start the sign up process. This is the main topic of the webinar today, to demonstrate end-to-end cycle of how a vendor can get registered. When you click on the sign up page, you will come here to this first page, the landing page for the registration, where you will start filling all your details. I just want to highlight a few things. I think it's a very simple form, but first of all, you need to fill the first and the last name, and this first and last name need to be for the personnel or for the employee of the organization or of the vendor that is having the delegation letter, because moving forward you will find that will ask you to upload the delegation letter. So please make sure whenever you are registering, so that you can get an instant approval on your profile, make sure that you are using the first name and last name um, of the employee that does have a delegation letter. That's first note. Second note, as please don't use info@xyz.com. Please use your personal email, your business email, your employee business email, because we will in the way why we want Sadaf, because we want to tell you about investment opportunity. We want to tell you about the news of the government. We want to tell you about some RFPs that are being launched and it's related to SMEs, etc. And if you are using an info email, that means no one maybe is monitoring that, so you will lose a lot of the communication. For example, this event that we have today, we are sending it everywhere. However, only those persons who have their employee business email will be able to receive this one. So we are telling you that because based on our practice, we found that people use info and other email, and that's creating issues for them, because when they are trying to forget password, login, receive any notification, it will be difficult. So that's one note to have. And then we have the company name. You need to enter your vendor name. So in this case, we are doing a sample, or for the sake of this demonstration, we are using a company name called شركاء التكنولوجيا, and also we are using a sample business email. And then we will ask you to enter your password. You have some criteria for the password. I think it's very fair, similar to any other website where they ask you to write some strong password so that you can be secure enough. Once you fill it, you will click sign up. And now we will send, because we don't want to get non-business emails. So and we need to make sure that you have access to your email. After you fill the first page of the sign up with those details, very basic details, we will send you a link to your email, where you will go and verify your sign up. You have access to that email, and you click it, and that's where you will activate your sign up from the first step of this registration. This is the email that you will receive. A sample, you will receive it in Arabic and in English. And as you can see, it's very simple. Just please confirm that you have access to this email. You have access to this business email. Moving forward, now once we click on that link, you will be able to access the main registration page. Yes. So this is where after you click on that link, you will now have access to this main registration page. This main registration page, it may look like it's a bit, there are a lot of fields. However, I will try as much as possible to walk you through the thing and to show you that it's fairly simple information based on our experience. We have now around 150 vendors who are registered in the portal. Based on our experience, organizations will take 5 to 10 minutes to register themselves on the portal. So first thing you will do, as you can see, company name, we bring it up from the previous screen. Now you will upload the company logo. And here I encourage you to upload your real company logo so that you can facilitate your user experience. And then the next question is, the year of establishment. So let's say شركاء التكنولوجيا is a company that have been established in, I don't know, 2010 or something. So basically here we are asking, when have you formed? When did you get started as a business? The next question is type. We have some public listed companies in the kingdom. We have some private. You also may a company that is coming from outside Saudi Arabia, international company. So for those that are publicly listed in the market, you can put publicly listed or privately owned. I believe the case for ICT in the kingdom, mostly you will find it's a privately owned. So I will go with the privately owned here, but as you can see, we have both options for those companies that are already in the public market, the financial market. After that, we are asking you to provide an overview of the company activity, and an overview of the company activity is something for us to DGA we will use to understand who's this company and what you are doing, what are the services that you are providing, etc. in a high level. We are not asking you to go on details. We just want to know that who's this vendor, because part of our let's say objectives is to enable SMEs, and for that we need to know more about you as a company. That's why we are asking this question. Then we go next, we ask if you are a non-profit organization or not. I will say no. If you are an SME or not, I would say it's yes. And then we will ask about the number of employees that you have in the company. It's a range, so you can find, since I'm an SME, we are following منشآت, so it is from 1 to 49 or from 50 to 249. So I will choose any. Anthony, go ahead. Yes. And then we will ask you about your annual revenue, the last year annual revenue. And here also, again, we are trying to understand where are you coming from, how can we help you with the procurement moving forward in the kingdom. If we are sending any target emails for some investment or for some RFP or for some event, knowing your annual revenue will help us to target you better, so that we don't send mass email to everyone, and it will be like very dedicated email to those who are within the criteria that we are looking for. And it is only for information purposes. It will not be shared with anyone else. It's only for the usage of the Digital Government Authority, to make sure that we create a better user experience for everyone in the private sector. I think until now, I speak a lot, but I think all the information here you can fill within a minute or two. Maybe the overview needs some writing, but I believe all the organizations or the vendors have a website, and that website you have an about us. I think that's clear. If you have any question regarding this screen, please write it in the chat. When we reach to the Q&A section at the end of this webinar, we will be taking your question and answering them one by one, inshallah. So if you go next, Anthony. Okay. Are either startups or large tech companies or multinational companies. So in the screen, in the company/branch details, this is where we are trying also to understand more information about your geographical, let's say, representation. So for example, here, let's say our headquarters is in Saudi Arabia. However, we have small branch in Jordan or in UAE or in Oman. So that will tell us that, okay, you have access, or you are working in multiple countries. And here, if you are applying, I think this is the case for most of the organization and maybe for most of the vendors on the call, and you are applying for your company that is in Saudi Arabia. However, we have vendors that wants to come and to work in Saudi Arabia, so they will not check this box, and they will be registering for their company that is outside in Estonia, in India, in Egypt, etc. So I believe it's very simple, headquarter and other branches, if any, and we move forward. Then we come to this point where because you are a local company, you are registering as a company that is in Saudi Arabia, we are asking you to provide us with Saudi commercial register number. So this is a sample CR that we are using. Let me try to zoom a bit. Anthony, if you can zoom a little bit. Yes. So as I said, if you are a Saudi company, you are applying for the Saudi branch, etc., we will ask you to enter your Saudi commercial register, which is very important. And in a bit, I would be explaining why the Saudi commercial number is important, because basically when you move forward, when you finish your registration and you go forward into the other services of Sadaf cluster, you will be able to classify yourself as an ICT vendor based on the activities that you are writing down in the CR and that you had in Ministry of Commerce. And in the next page, I will explain more about this in more details, because I know this is a very important question. The second thing is we upload the CR. For validation purposes, for security purposes, we want to make sure that whoever is using this portal is having all the information. So some people only have the CR number and they will try to use someone else's CR number. We did all the precautions needed so that we can make sure whoever is registering is the same who's from the organization. So we used first the business email that is similar to you, that is related to your name. يعني عمرو الفارس, it should be عمرو الفارس at xyandz.com. We are using the CR number, we are using the CR certificate, and as you can see, when we move forward, we will ask you to upload the delegation letter from the company. Moving forward, since in the previous screen we answered that we are an SME, here we are asking you to upload your SME certificate that it's coming from منشآت. And this is where I think all the SMEs knows and have access to this certificate, and they can upload it here. And again, this is for validation purposes to make sure we have all the right information. Next, we go to the number of employees in the registered branch. Again, because we selected the Saudi branch, let's say that in the Saudi branch we have 50 person or below, so it's the first option. Yes, that's the case. And then also for the registered branch, how much the revenue that we have made, let's say we have 1 million Saudi riyal. Next. Okay, this is very important. I will spend some quality time here to make sure that everyone knows what we are doing here, and because we received a lot of questions in the last 2 months about this particular page. We are using your CR number to integrate online with Ministry of Commerce. In Ministry of Commerce, all of the organizations that currently are in Saudi Arabia, they registered and they noted down, or they selected few activities that they are working in. So, for example, this شركاء التكنولوجيا, the company that we are using, is registered in Saudi, and they have a CR, and they registered themselves as someone who is providing تطوير تطبيقات activity. تطوير تطبيقات في وزارة التجارة إلها ISIC code. إحنا what we did is we did an online integration using the CR number that you are providing. the CR number that you are providing and only the CR number that you are providing to get your activity information. So here, as I mentioned, this organization have تطوير تطبيقات in their activities, and it is automatically mapped to our digital taxonomy, because Digital Government Authority is responsible to build a taxonomy for all the digital services, and we classified it and we mapped it to the ISAC 4. So when you log in, you will find that it isn't automatically selected. However, there is one important part that is not selected, and if you can see, some of the checkboxes are enabled, some of them are disabled. The ones that are enabled are related to the value chain. Let me explain what the value chain is. Value chain is related to, let's say, شركاء التكنولوجيا is a company that is working بتطوير التطبيقات. However, we only provide implementation and integration services. We don't create products from scratch. We just find out some opportunities, some RFPs in the market in اعتماد, and we apply for those RFPs to do implementation, new implementations from scratch, or new integrations from scratch. But we are not into the product development, or we are not doing any research and the product development like some other companies are doing. So it is important for all the vendors to make sure that they are selecting the value chains that they are operating in, because that will affect you when you go to the classification down the road in our next webinar tomorrow. Because if you selected only implementation services, when you go to the classification, you will be classified based on this selection, which is implementation and integration services. However, if you come and select all of the value chains, and I'm working in a research and product development, I am an implementation and integration service as well. I work in support services and sales and distribution, which is fair. You can do that. We will not stop you. However, when you go to vendor classification request, you will find you have more questions to answer, and then you will see that, okay, I don't have much information for R&D. So you have some questions related to R&D, but you are not an R&D vendor. So your chance of getting up in the value chain will be limited, because you will not be able to answer. You cannot justify that you are an R&D vendor. So what I'm trying to say, please give it a thought. And I think everyone knows what kind of value chain they are operating in. And just select the ones that you really work on and you have previous experience in, you have resources to work with that, you have facilities for that value chain. If you have any question related to this component, please write it down in the chat. We will be answering at the end of the call. What I want to highlight, maybe some company work on multiple activities, like in this case, this شركاء التكنولوجيا are working on two categories, two activities. So I need to go and select value chain for each activity. So as you can see, we selected it in the software, and then in the emerging technology, I will go and say, I am doing implementation, support, and sales, for example. And I'm just trying to show you an example, but it is up to you to choose whatever value chain that you work on. There is a very important feature here, which is the save as draft. If for any reason you don't have this information, you need to consult, you need to ask someone in your organization, you can save at any time and come back to the registration process, so that you can continue the process. I think everyone knows that we are using now dummy data, we are using sample data for the sake of the demonstration. So that's not real data. There is no شركاء التكنولوجيا company, or the CR is not a real CR, and etc. Moving forward, Anthony, next. Now we'll come to the delegation letter. The delegation letter is a letter we are expecting from your side, that maybe your HR team will give you, or I don't know, some of the shared services departments that you have will give you, which is certifying and verifying that you, as for example, Amr Al Faris or the user that have registered, you are eligible to and authorized from your company to carry out all the operations and using this Sadaf cluster. And we added this delegation letter because we have sat down with many vendors. We have sat down with the Chamber of Commerce when we were designing this portal in the early days. And we know that for so many vendors, there is usually a gap in using in not having the delegation letter, because maybe the CEO will be required to enter this information. So we made sure that no, it's not the CEO only that can register. There is any other employee can register. However, he needs to have this delegation letter. Moving forward, product and service catalog. I believe all the companies have their company profile, and they can upload it. To the system. And next, growth plan. It's very important to digital government authority to hear about what you want to do in the kingdom. So are you planning to build a new product? Are you planning to go into a higher value chain? You are working in support only or in sales and distribution only, and you want to go into implementation services. So basically, we are looking forward to receive your growth plan, because we have a team inside DGA that will work on all of this data and will call you back. So if we have any investment opportunities, if we have any RFPs that are related to the areas that you are working in terms of activities, classification, growth plans, product and services, you will find someone from DGA is trying to reach out to see how we can take you forward, how we can enhance and create more better opportunities. You can upload the document for the growth plan as well. And then the next section is partnership agreement. Some companies have partnership with IBM, with Oracle, with Amazon, with Microsoft. Maybe some companies have a partnership with government entities. Maybe some companies have a partnership with other Saudi large tech companies, be it co-development, sales agreements, etc. Please upload your documentation here. We will reach out to you, and we will try to get use of this information to create a better user experience and to create a better services for you. Any other relevant files? Maybe there is something you want us to know more than what we ask for. So here you can upload anything that you think it is important for us as a digital government authority to know about. Next is we are allowing you, we are giving you the chance to write down your phone number, the company URL, and the company LinkedIn URL. And also we will use that those URLs, those LinkedIn profiles, just to make sure the information is consistent. No one is trying to register on behalf of other vendors, and all the information that is provided is accurate. Next, then we go to the final review page. This is where we are allowing you to review all of your information that you have entered. If you want to update, you can go back easily. And if you reviewed it, if you can scroll down, Anthony, a little bit, you can see all the information that you have entered. It appears here in the screen. And then complete registration. That's it. I think, as you can see, with all the speaking that I have done, I don't know, it's 20 minutes or 25 minutes, I have been able to register a profile because I am prepared and I have my data. And that's why we sent you in the invitation, we sent you a list of all the required information that you need to prepare before coming to the registration. And even if you did not receive these prerequisites and you go and log into the system, you will find that you will find that it's easy information. There is nothing major that we are asking about. Maybe, and if you have all the information organized, you can finalize your registration within 10 minutes, inshallah. I think that's it for our demo today. Thank you, Anthony. You can stop sharing. And I will share my screen again. And this is where we'll go to our Q&A. And back to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Amro. Now I would like from everyone to open their cameras for just a minute to get some pictures for our marketing content. And then we will proceed with the Q&A and closing section. All right, so now it's the Q&A part. So please, if you have any questions, kindly write it in the chat, and we would be honored to answer your questions. I will start. I will try to start from the beginning. Okay, is the access to Sadaf website blocked from outside of KSA? No, currently, as of my information, it's not blocked. We have some companies as international companies already registered, so I hope you don't have a problem with it. And if you do, please contact us at the email that we shared with you. Can we change this information later? I think he means the company profile. Yes, we are currently actually taking into account your notes. For example, changing some features or information on your company. So yes, you can. And if there are some certain information that you cannot, so please just email us and we would be happy to help you. Once we register, can we save and complete it later? Yes, there is a button called Save as a Draft. You can do that. Are the attachments of the strategy and growth plan in the attachment sufficient for writing in the plan? Yes, as my colleague Amro explained, there are some information that are mandatory to be attached, and some information it is an option to have. So I believe one of the option you can just put is the growth plan. It is an option, so it's fine to just write it. This is just for our references, and the validation will be later on for the classification. Can we provide authorization letter instead of delegation letter? And do we need a corporate stamp? As long as it is sufficient and it is official, we can approve it. But I need to see the personal information and name, and the logo of the company and so on. I believe that there is an important question. I'm not sure if I can catch it here, but it is mentioned that if the company has multiple CR, can they combine the CRs together? We cannot do that. We treat each CR as it's an independent branch or independent company. So there was a company approached us last week, and it has I think 6 or 7 CRs. So he has to apply for all these 6 companies. How detailed should the growth plan to be? For the registration purposes, yeah, it should be just a high-level growth plan. You can just summarize it in a text. The meeting, as we explained, it is recorded. Can ICT companies register with more than 1 CR? No. Can be possible to check the contact information. Not sure what is the required here, but the information for the company, it is mandatory. Some of them, yes. It is possible to amend the information after the approval. Yes, you need to email us. Mumra classified company use DGA same classification. Yes, but let me explain and elaborate more on that. They usually, or the technical classification is done by DGA, and the financial, as we explained in this slide. For that question, as we discussed, you need first to have a CR number from Ministry of Commerce, and then you need to log in and sign into DGA portal in order to register, and then you will be applicable to apply for the technical classification. After you get the technical classification from DGA, the certificate and the final score will be sent to MOMRA in order for MOMRA to do the financial assessment and combine the DGA score, and then you will have the final and general classification certificate. There is no way to update the company profile in the company. As I said, there are some information that can be updated, but if you have any problems or consideration to have, please send us an email at sadaf@dga.gov. I believe the email and the survey link, it's in the chat. If there is no question, I just want to highlight one important thing, because we have faced this issue before with many vendors. So once you register, many companies, they don't, let's say, choose the value chain for each activity. As Mr. Amr explained during the demo, that the activity will pulled up from the Ministry of Commerce, so there is no way you can edit or change or delete any activity. You need to go to the Ministry of Commerce, and then you select the value chain for each activity by expanding. So please use the expand button for each activity and select each value chain. This is, let's say, the most common issue we face with the current vendors. This is the Sadaf cluster at dga.gov.sa. So please, if you have any concerns or notes, please send us, and we hope we can answer your questions. And now, please make sure you fill your data through the survey, as it is important to DGA to have all the vendor information listed down, so that we can help you and support you moving forward. Last but not least, we have tomorrow the vendor classification webinar. I encourage you to be part of it in order to have a full clarity of the webinar. When is the deadline for the registration? There is no deadline for the registration. You can register anytime, Ms. Farida. So please, for the survey, give it a few moments to fill the survey. It is up, the link for the survey, it's there, or you can just scan it. So for the vendor classification webinar, it will be tomorrow, inshallah. So please make sure that you receive the invite.
محمد إذا تسمح لي.
تفضل أخوي
يعطيك العافية. السلام عليكم. باسم السلوم نيابة عن اتحاد تقديم المعلومات والاتصالات. نشكركم حقيقة، وفي البداية أبغى أشكر الحضور وندعوهم على الاجتماع غدا، لأن أعتقد أنه مهمة جدا تصنيف المقاولين فيما يخص تقنية المعلومات، وتحديدا أنواعها وكيف آلياتها، لأن بعض الزملاء واجهوا بعض المشاكل أثناء التسجيل، فمشكورين الهيئة يعطيهم العافية أعطونا الفرصة هذه نحن نستفيد منها قدر الإمكان، فأدعو الجميع للاستفادة منها، وكذلك يكون أحد الموجودين برضه من الإدارات المعنية، سواء من إدارة تطوير الأعمال أو من مثل الإدارة المالية، لأن بعض الطلبات تحتاج وجود توقعات مالية forecast وbusiness forecast. So I would recommend everyone to attend tomorrow's session to have more clarity on how to register companies in the classification sector, especially for certain verticals such as software or as system integrators. It has different context, and the guys in and the DGA, thanks for the support that they did. We would like to maximize this opportunity to use it as much as we can. So thank you very much. شكرا محمد, الله يعطيك العافية.
Definitely. شكرا أستاذ باسم. We are looking forward for you tomorrow, inshallah, to be part of our webinar. And definitely there will be more registration and also classification webinar in the future. We are happy to serve you and to help you. If you have any questions or notes, please send us an email, and hopefully we can answer you in a short manner. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day. Thank you very much.